Don't know what they are. Looks like the plastic's worn a little bit. Don't know why. Well, get rid of that. It will still show, but a lot better than it was before. Yeah, still showing. I think there's a bit of wear to the plastic, but oh well, all good. Dirt can actually get in these corners quite badly. There you go. I might have to look at these clips because I don't like the fact that they're a little bit on the rusty side. There's this sort of dirt in here. Getting the grooves here as well. This bit, when it gets dirty, can really let the side down. Just a few more areas. Dirt can get around here quite easily. Get in all the gaps, take your time. The key to any form of detailing is time. Unless you are rich and you can afford to have your car dry iced, as many of you may have seen in a recent YouTube video from a certain car channel. But that is beyond the financial capabilities of many people. You know, 850 to £1,000 for an underbody and engine bay clean, not can do. Us DIYers have to do it the old-fashioned way, because that's the purpose. Not spending money. Do it yourself for absolute pennies, and you get to know your car. You get to know where all the nooks and crannies are, all the little pipes, all the little nuts and bolts. If you're into cars, it should be enjoyable. 1000 grit and water. Look at all that tarnish. There's now very good pipe. And then yeah, that big one look. Joint pipes have a huge difference on detailing. I'm not doing it heavily. Some of this tarnish won't move, but some of it will. Lovely, lovely. So there's some tarnish still there, but the idea is that the pipe is as clean as what it can be. Even clean the bracket up just a little bit. That's much better. Just going down here as well. Yeah, compote sort of goes round and then goes into the dryer just there. Lovely. Makes a difference. And I've had a go around the dryer area a little bit, but as I say, access is a bit difficult, but I've done it as best as I can. And the top of the radiator does get a bit bubbly on the top. There's a bit of surface rust here, but I'll just clean it up and get in all the gaps. I'm surprised there's not like a plastic cowling, because normally this sort of stuff is actually covered up, but sometimes it isn't. Yeah, all the nooks and crannies. That's what detailing is about. I mean, anybody can do that, but it's doing this little bit that people miss, and it adds up and it takes away from the good stuff, and then suddenly you're just looking at all the dirt. Secret to success is time and patience and doing little jobs here and there. You know, I'm not going to do the whole engine bay in one go. That would be completely mad. That's me. And it should come up really nicely. There's a nice spray pattern to this, so you end up cleaning a load of other things at the same time. Ooh. Got all the nooks and crannies. And clean the backside. You know, components like this, don't be afraid to just move them out of the way if they're easy to remove, and it makes it a bit easier and saves you a bit of time rather than trying to circumnavigate around. See what I mean? You know, things like this are easy to take out. I mean, there's things like this corrugated sort of heat protected pipe, because obviously the exhaust could affect the air cold gases. That's why we've got this sort of aluminium sleeve over the top, and they can get really dirty. Just keep trying to get all the dirt out. I mean, there's a bit on that side. Getting access on this side is actually very difficult, because this is where it gets really tight down here. That's pretty clean. Comparing some things, you can get new heat shields. I wasn't really happy. I've cleaned this several times and tried to give it a thorough wet sand with some 600 grit, but it doesn't seem to have had too much effect. I may replace that in time, but to replace it is an absolute faff. So until it comes off next time, I'm not going to. See, I think this hose could do replacing. Okay, just something to be aware of. I think this hose is possibly the one to be replaced. And apparently in a lot of other models, from what I've seen, they don't have this system where they have this expansion vessel, this plastic bit in the middle, and then you've got this expansion that goes all the way to the top of the expansion tank. You just got one pipe that goes through, and it's held in by a clamp here, and it just goes through, I suspect, to the top radiator. Now, I don't get that. Now, that's on the manual models. I assume that the main radiator on the manual models might be a bit bigger, because this is the automatic transmission cooler. So the radiator might extend that way, and then the hose sort of comes across sort of here. But on my version, you've got this system, which is a bit different, and that means that if I want to replace this hose in the future, see, I don't like I don't like that. I think we need to change that, seriously. Yeah, it's a very good job I spotted this before. That is a bulge, and that is going to blow. We're gonna have to change this hose. So that means I've got to drain the bloody coolant again. I am not driving that car like that. You can see clearly on the camera what the problem is. That is gonna blow. This one doesn't look as bad, but I might change that as well. So, ooh, okay. That might be an interesting job. I think this one is actually okay. There doesn't appear to be as many issues with that one. It's this one. This one has completely gone. Well, after doing a bit of research, I've discovered that the whole hose, which is only applicable to 1800 automatics, is the whole damn thing. So not just the bit that's going wrong for me, that's bulging, the one that goes on the elbow. And interestingly, they come with spring clips on the ends. Now, what's on the car are Jubilee clips. So someone's thrown them away for Jubilees, presumably to make it easier to fit, to be honest. So that's quite interesting, but you can't buy it as a separate hose. It's one complete hose assembly for that. Well, I can only go to Rimmer Brothers for that because I can't find that anywhere else. And I'm not buying secondhand because it's probably just as bad. So, yeah, I'm going to have a check with the other hoses, but I'm going to finish this little mini bonus episode here because I just wanted to do a bit of quick detailing and I discovered yet another problem. I'm glad I did, because when you clean, this is a true example of when you clean things, you actually start discovering things that could lead to real disaster. And this on a K series is a bit of a disaster because, you know, you're going to lose coolant and I'm afraid you're going to have the head issues. So I'm going to buy one of them, and my band balance is not going to be very happy with me, but clearly I need to do it because I cannot drive to the MOT centre with that hose in that condition. 2 days later, it's arrived. Brand new hose from Rimmer Brothers. Absolutely stole my wallet, but the truth is, it's the only place you can get these hoses. So if you've got the same hose as me, get it before it goes. That's all I'll say. Let's take it all apart again. Right, realistically, I just got to take this Jubilee clamp off. Now, I can release that clamp, but unfortunately the hose is stuck on. It's really stuck to that elbow, so I'm going to have to get a pick and try and scrape it and release it. It feels free there, but that's probably the place where I managed to get a pick all into that hose, and it will probably release. As I say, this one isn't too bad, but the truth is, it is what it is. I will not release the cap because that's going to mean even more coolant comes out. I'm not dropping the coolant at the bottom of the radiator. I'm just going to try and catch as much of this as possible and direct it into the drain pan at the bottom. I've got to take this overflow off as well, but yeah, this could get quite messy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and minimize the splash. Is as soon as I pull that, I'm going to direct it straight there, and it will go straight down and miss all the electronics. That's the idea. So I think I can actually do that now. He says it's quite tight, that. This is going to be messy. Is it going to be right? And some will come out the radiator. You can't do anything about that. Some of it will go into the undershield at the bottom, but hopefully it's just going to be deflected down. Yeah, see what I mean? It's just going to deflect it down across. It just controls it a little bit. I don't want the water splashing around everywhere, because this coolant, this 080 antifreeze, has a habit of hanging around because it doesn't freeze. Now I've released that. We have controlled the spillage rather well. Now you can just try and twist this, but this Jubilee clip is completely free, so I suggest is just get a pick and just get in there and do that. Keep doing this. It's the bottom side that I can't really get to. So you're just gonna have to keep picking until it's all released, and then potentially it will come up. You just gotta keep doing that until it gives in. What I've done to minimize the mess is I've taken the hose off, twisted it and pushed it down, so all the coolant off the lower part from the elbow will come out and you can control it. Now what I have done is give it a good yank, and it has actually just gone, so it will come off. I'm just trying to get as much coolant out of what would be the cylinder block, because all the coolant from the elbow is actually stuck in the engine, so it will come out, but the level won't drop over there because it hasn't reached that part of the system yet. And I suspect because I haven't put air, if I release that cap now, that that bit of water will just go down, because gravity's in, air gets in, and all the water gets pushed into another part of the system. Just control it. Oh, got to move it over a bit. Just give it a kick. There we go. Good. Great. Lovely. That's gone straight down. I'll just leave that for a few minutes and then we'll whack it off. Should be able to just pull now. There we go. Off it comes completely. Yeah, it's all empty now. Okay. Do that. Pop that there. I'm going to take these Jubilee clips for asperity. I may release this side because this is the side that isn't causing a bother. Which side is it? Well, no. This is the side that's causing the bother. That's just deteriorated. You can see the rubber, it's just gone flat. There's microscopic cracks. I'm going to have a closer look at that off camera. See how far gone it is on the inside, just for an interest. But these Jubilee clips are really nice and quality. I may put them on the others. We'll just see what the others are like, because those spring clips are no big deal. And it's original. This is not original. Right, once again I'm losing the light, so I've got to go quickly. I've just give this a bit of a clean up. It's still dripping a little bit, but I've just give the actual housing a bit of a wet sand just to clean it up. And there is no evidence of oil in that coolant, but obviously I can't use it again, so I've got to dispose of that. So that is going to go to one side. And yeah, right, I'll get the other hose on now, because we are clean as a whistle. Bit of moisture at the bottom, but that is to be expected. Don't you just love genuine parts? That's the parts number. Yep, I love it, love it. That feels like rubber, nice fresh rubber. Let's whack this on. Now what is interesting, if you actually see this part, even though that is the same part, exactly the same part, this is visibly smaller. It definitely is not as long. I mean, I've pushed it in and it feels fine. It just feels a little bit on the stretch side. But yeah, that is that's very strange. I love the fact that it's brand new rubber. This looks out of place now. It looks like dirty stuff in comparison, but I love the clamps as well, and I'll keep the clamps because they are, you know, correct for the car. But yeah, interesting, very interesting. But it fits. It's just fractionally smaller. I think this is the part with even genuine parts. Even genuine stuff can be slightly different. I do apologise for the camera. They can be slightly different than the original parts fitted, because there are alterations were made during production. So these things, I mean, if I show you the difference, excuse me. Look at that one, look at that one. You could argue that it's ballooned overnight, but the truth is, it is fractionally longer. I will keep the better side of that, and the rubbish side I'm going to dispose of, but we're going to have a look at how bad it is in a second. But all you need to do with these tags, these are exactly the sort of hose clamps that I've seen on many other cars like Fords, and I've got the right set of pliers for these. I'll just get that out now. This is a flexible hose clamp tool, and it is a really good tool. It's invaluable for hose clamps in places where you just can't get ordinary tools. So basically it just clamps like a vice around there. I do apologise for the poor lighting, but basically if I just press these together like this, oh, that's it, done. Now it will click. Now that brake will stop it from releasing, so if I just put that there, and I can just gently maneuver this into place. Sometimes it might fall off, but you've got to do it with two hands, and then just get that in position while that clamp is holding those two together. It's a really, really clever tool, but I'm going to do exactly the same with all of them. So you push it in place, and then you literally just pull this parking lever, and it will literally unclip the mechanism and snap. Just want to maneuver it into position, so just pull on the handle. Come on, that's it. Right, now just got to wiggle it through. Okay, I've pushed it right on, it's around the groove, and if I release the handle, there we go, and the clamp has tightened quite a bit. It's just taken the slack. You can see where the clamp has been in situ, but that's okay. It's nicely seated. That's absolutely fine. Now I've just got to return my attention to this one, just get it seated in. And the only thing is, I've found that it's touching this aircon pipe quite a bit, because I don't think it bends down enough personally. But yeah, at the end of the day, you can't get the second-hand ones of these are probably no better than the ones that have come off. So yeah, that's all nice and tight. Got to go for the back here. I mean, ideally you want quite a few of these hoses changed anyway, because it's such an old car. The truth is, if you maintain the coolant levels, you won't have many issues with the hoses going, because OAT coolant preserves the hoses for a lot longer. People don't realize that by keeping the correct levels of OAT coolant, your hoses are going to last a lot longer. But inevitably it does get to the rubber. I mean, these are nice and strong. As I say, they're a bit different colour to the originals, but I think the originals have just probably changed colour with age. But these are genuine ones, and these are not aftermarket ones. You cannot get these as aftermarket ones, I think, because of this plastic thing here. It makes it probably a bit more expensive to manufacture. But my argument is, why do the whole piece? Just have one hose, a plastic piece, and 3 hoses as 3 separate items. I really hate this when you have to buy the whole thing, because I wouldn't have done. I'd have just bought this pipe. I would have just left the original in situ like it was. But right, I'll put that clamp on and we'll get moving, because I am losing light out here really, really quickly. It's not that light, I can assure you. I can absolutely see why the garage fitted Jubilee clips. It's just so easy, to be honest with you. But as I say, I'm going original. But what I've had to do is move the clip onto the left hand side by the exhaust heat shield, so I can actually get my special tool in to clamp it. Now I've got it clamped, as you can see, it's nice and clamped up. It's just a case of shuffling it back on, but oh, that was a bit of a pain. Lovely, that's seated nicely, and if I just release the brake and just come on, there we go, done. Let's get the tool out. Done. So next time when I come to get that out, I just need to slide this tool down the side, and that will be far easier. That is now clamped. Oh God, these things are really, really difficult to get into place, and that is a good sign, because I know that it's not going to leak water. It's actually a really tight seal. Right, we can consider that fitted. That is now one fitted. Oh, apart from this, we've got to fit this. Oh, for God's sake. Wind that back over there, and then just pop that on. Lovely. Now just screw that on there. Right, I'm going to get in. I'm absolutely tired. I've had a long day, and I've just come straight from work to start this job, and it's done. I've just got to screw that in and top it up, and obviously do the usual. You got your bleed screw there, get your 10mm socket, get all the air out. Obviously it will drop again, top it up again, and obviously I've got to run the car and bleed it again. But I do know for a fact that the head is absolutely fine. Whatever smoke is coming out, it's possibly what's stuck in the cat, or excess, just tons of excess coolant in the car. Obviously, a few people have pointed out it's because it's cold and you're going to expect that sort of thing. Yeah, I get that. There was just a bit too much for my liking, but it's not coolant because that level's not dropped, which is absolutely brilliant. So the head, as far as I'm concerned, up to this point, has been a successful job. Obviously, I keep saying it, we won't know until the MOT episode, and that's the next episode. I'm not going to do any more than this. Excuse the traffic. So we're just going to bleed the system as we have done before and get it running. So I shall see you next time for the MOT episode. That's it. That's enough. Not have to do that a few times. Now, looking at the offending pipe, you can clearly see the bulge. That is going to seriously go. I couldn't show you on camera really clearly, but I mean, it's cracked all the way along. I really didn't notice this in detail, but this is the worst hose I've seen in a while. I mean, obviously there's far worse than this. I'm pretty sure you could show me worse, but that is going to go. And if you look on the inside, look at all that. That is oil and coolant mixed together and corrugated in chunks. Makes you think what's in the other hoses. The other hose was actually quite clear, and that piece actually goes on the actual the plastic mounting. But yeah, we're going to do it justice here. You give it a final prick so it's a bit dirty. Bam, straight through. As easy as that. I mean, literally straight through. Yeah, there wasn't much stopping that. I'm amazed that did not blow out the first time I started the car. Absolutely incredible. Well, just goes to show, cleaning is a really good thing for your car. See you soon, guys.